Okay, so this is so good. I just had to hit record. It's so good that I had to pause Cyndi Lauper and Pat Benatar that I was dancing to. I just want to pop on here and share what's coming through because I know that if you're landing here, this is going to find you at the perfect time. I know everybody says that, but it's true. Like literally the universal, like the universe is controlling the algorithm and you will see this at the perfect time. Um, so it's official. It's official that you do not fit into your old heels. You know how people say, you don't fit into your old shoes or something like that. Well, over here it's heels because this is divine femme. So your old heels from your old life don't fit. And you, it's official. You are moving into a whole new way of living, being, existing. And what's coming through is that it's time to fully trust what you know. So the message that's coming through is, well, first, the thing that got me to really excited to just hit record on this is like it's just too good. Like I just received an email that literally offered on a silver platter one of like the deep dreams and desires that's in my heart that I'm just witnessing slowly unfold what feels like magically and miraculously, but it's really just alignment and choice. So what I want to share with you is right prior to this, as we're shifting collectively out of the sacred in between, if you're listening and you're resonating with this, you've been in this sacred in between void for some time where like the old identity is not something you can cling to anymore. The old structures are falling away. You've been through it, the tower moments, the rug pulled out, taking leaps of faith on yourself. If you're listening to this, then you've taken many quantum leaps of faith on yourself, especially since this summer. I announced this earlier on YouTube when I was putting out a live stream series, which you can actually still find here on the homepage called Quantum Ascension Shift Codes. For those that were resonating with that, there's a massive quantum shift happening that started this summer and is culminating now as we move into this new beginning, new chapter, new, like I shared yesterday, a whole new book. Like you're not even turning a page, you're not writing a new chapter, you're writing a whole new book. The old identity is falling away. And I can share with you through experience that as you say no to the old identity, because it's kind of like as you call in and you get really discerning on what you're available for and what's truly in your heart that lights you up and what you want to experience, the old identity will creep in and try to dangle little carrots in front of you just to see if you'll bite, right? Like you'll and it's truly the old identity fizzling out that is just being reflected back as a mirror. And you're being asked and guided to just trust right now and know what you know and follow through on what you know and follow through on what lights you up and take whatever sacred guided actions come from that. You know, do less, be more. The doing comes from the being. This is not a time to try to figure it out, force things, or manipulate things, or anything like that. It's not, this is, you're transitioning out of the sacred in between. We are collectively shifting out of the sacred in between. Those that are here to fully anchor in new earth and move into your highest divine reality. You are a new earth human, and this is, if you're still resonating, that's who this transmission is for. That's who I've always been speaking to in the years that I've been doing this, and intentionally, right? Like I've known that these messages that come through are very important for the collective because we are rising together. And your messages are very important. Your story is very important. Your life is meant to be a testimony. That's a whole nother transmission. I might record that today. I'm not going to dive into that right now. But you are here listening to this right now because it's official. yeah, the life, your life is meant to be a testimony is just coming through. So I'm just going to go there with this right now. Everything that you've been through, all of the betrayals, the heartbreak, the abandonment, the scarcity, the loss, the devastation, the destruction, all of that, that was building character, resilience, strength, and calling you home. You are now fully anchoring in your divine truth and choosing to be a cooperative component with the unfolding by actually letting go and releasing and not trying to control the process anymore and surrendering. So I know this message is all over the place, but I hope it resonates with whoever. I know it will. It's kind of all over the place because right as you exit the sacred void, the in between stage, it's not like we ever, quote unquote, arrive in New Earth where you just get to plant your flag the way the ego wants to plant the flag and say, oh, I'm here, I've arrived. There's this big thing now that you've acquired or gained or achieved. And so now you can pat yourself on the back and be worthy and good enough. All that is out the window. You just get to go along for the ride now, the ride of a lifetime from the highest vantage point. So it's kind of like a roller coaster, is what was just being shown to me. You go, there's the roller coaster goes up and down, right? Like you're going to experience highs and lows and things like that, but not from being, you're not, you're not, it doesn't mean anything about you anymore. It's just the unfolding of life, and there will be dips and there will be peaks and things like that. So it's like you just get to ride the wave now from a higher vantage point because none of it means anything about you because you are the divine presence that is looking through your eyes right now and everything is unfolding within you. So then you get to go on the rides and they're not scary anymore. You know what I mean? So, I used this as a metaphor on an Embody the Empress call not too long ago. It's kind of like I'm going to use the roller coaster again. When you're on a roller coaster ride and you know you're going like on a really steep incline up, it's really scary and the ego is gripping, right? It's the anticipation of what's going to happen and all of that kind of stuff. And even like as the roller coaster starts to, this is kind of like the buildup, the momentum. Like you know something's coming, but you don't know what it is, but you're along for the ride anyways. You're along for the ride. This is kind of what it feels like from direct experience as well. Like you're along for this ride. You kind of have a clue of where it's going or what it's going to be like, but you have really like no direct experience with it, but you decided to get in anyways. And now you're going up and up and up and up and up. And you're like, what the fuck did I get myself into? What's going on? And you're moving through the sacred in between where nothing really makes sense. And even as the roller coaster starts to peak and then starts to like, it's the ego that's still gripping and holding on and like scared. It's the soul that's got like your hands completely up, like woohoo, right? Like you are along for the ride. Your soul has been along for the ride the entire effing time. It just doesn't feel like that because you've been identified as a separate sense of self. Everything that's been unfolding, it's 11:44 on the clock as I look at this. Everything that's been unfolding has been perfect, divinely timed, divinely aligned to calibrate you to being able to hold what you're about to receive. And so this message also is coming through saying you are about to receive beyond what your mind thought possible, and things will be delivered to you like on a silver platter. It's like the universe will be rolling out the red carpet as you walk it and you step in faith and trust and knowing, and you no longer bite the carrots that are being dangled in front of you that represent the old pattern, the old conditioning, the old identity, right? So that could be a relationship, that could be a type of, you know, like a relationship pattern, that could be a career or a job choice or something like that, or a way you earn money, or where you live or what you do, or a belief system, or like whatever it is. Those things pop up as you are transitioning into your highest divine reality. When you set the intention to live your divine greatness, which is actually what you're doing, you're here. If you're listening to this, you know that you're here. Otherwise, you would have clicked off of this to live fully embodied in your divinity. That's your divine greatness, your divine power, your divine worth, divine prosperity, divine abundance, divine well being, like all of it, whole, healed, complete, fully alive, here, free, wild, wealthy, full on, turned on, alive, experiencing life here and now, in the moment, having fun. And yes, experiencing life that still unfolds, but much from the highest vantage point possible, which is fully your true self, which is already here, awake and aware, and allowing things to unfold within you. You're not even allowing it, it already is. So I'm just using words that are not 100, none of the words you ever use to point to what you truly are will ever be accurate because language is rooted in duality. But, anyways, I'm just using words that kind of can point to what it feels like as you're moving through this purification process and purification phase. So, yeah, one of the things that made me hit record on this right now and break my morning dance and coffee routine, which is kind of just like a sacred devotion and doesn't feel like a routine. It's just so fun. Was receiving an email that literally delivered on a silver platter. Like, if someone could read my journal and take all of the different like things that were coming out that were just, and I don't really journal that much anymore, but I just felt the urge to journal it out. Just like what is truly coming through right now that wants to be birthed, that wants to be experienced through this vessel, right? Through this channel, what wants to come through, what is really truly like fresh slate, like what wants to come through. And I just received an email that literally puts a bow, like puts packages all that up with a little bow on top. And it's just fun. It's just fun. It's just fun to be able to see life unfolding in such a way that is just, it gets to be that easy. It gets to be that effortless. It gets to be like, oh, of course, like, of course I'm going to receive an email that packages all that up. And I don't know where that's going to lead, and I have no idea. But I know that it lights me up, and it kind of was like a, oh, that's interesting, but more of like a, you got to be kidding me, like, right? Like, it's just gets better and better, and you just follow that, and you don't know where it's going to go. And it's like dream weaving kind of, because it's not this like linear process. It's not step by step. I got to figure it out. Everything's got to go in order. And now I'm going to go do this, and then it's going to turn into that. And then I'm going to take that action. That there's none of that here. It's just trusting fully in the unknown and allowing what wants to come through because you've created the space for it to come through because you're no longer living at the level of conceptual reality and living in the mind, which means prior to this, you have already had a devotional practice to fully coming home to the truth of who you are, sitting in the silence, sitting in the stillness, walking as the I am that you are, the presence, the beingness that you are, the effortless being, which looks, it feels like a hot mess when you're going through that because your ego has met every single step of the way with having, it's dissolving, it's losing control. It's really illusory to begin with. It's not like this, the egoic mind only has power if you give it power. Like, really, the truest use of the ego, which we will still have as long as we are incarnated here on this earth having this 3D experience, is really just to allow yourself to have an individuated expression, an individuated, divine expression. Even though you are one with all, you are not the same. You are unique and divinely uh, coded for your own magic and divine desires, I call it, not the egoic desires that you think you need in order to make yourself feel better, safe, secure, whole, lovable. That's all bullshit. And the more that you kind of latch onto those desires and you go down those rabbit holes, the more that you suffer because you're still reaching outside of yourself, chasing and seeking, saying everything out there has the power and the power doesn't live within me. And the shortcut to this is realizing that you already are everything that you've been seeking. You are the love, you are the abundance, you are all of it. And when you fully claim this and come home to it, not from an egoic, like, I'm going to use this as a manipulative tool now to try to go get what I want. I see that happen a lot with a lot of the YouTube videos and stuff out there where people will be using oneness and I am presence and consciousness as a manipulative tool. And that's like, that will be a crutch at some point because all of that also collapses on this journey. You're just it. You are it. You are all of this. You are it. There's, and so even the need to manifest falls away. There's no, because the gap that was never there finally, like, there was no gap. Separation is an illusion. And so even the need to manifest or the desire to manifest falls away because there's no more like, you're not operating from the separate self that feels you need to get anything and bring it into your experience in order to feel whole and complete. You've collapsed the apparent gap, and you've come home to the truth of who you are, which is one with, right? Call it the monad, call it the your 0 point, call it your divine presence essence, call it God. You are all of this, and when you're all of this, there is you don't need anything. And paradoxically, that's when things come into your experience that feel very magical and miraculous and things like that. But it's actually just pure divine magnetism, full divine feminine magnetism. I call it, obviously, feminine magnetism, which is rooted in duality, feminine and masculine. And we're playing this game, but now we're playing it at the highest level, right? Masculine is about the external world and your individuated expression and taking sacred action. And your feminine is the subtle realm, the essence of you that rests in the divine presence. And you are just collapsing into what is already true for you because you're no longer playing in the old paradigm of doubt and fear and lack and scarcity and unworthiness. But the chasing and seeking is a part of this journey. At a certain point of the journey, so to speak, which eventually falls away too, because it's not a journey home to what you already are. You already are this. You can't do anything to get here. You can't become this. And that's one of the traps as well, is you often can get stuck in this phase of trying to become a better version of yourself, or, and this is not a never ending journey of personal development. You will naturally evolve and expand into things, into, so personal development just like the whole development of the being, the character here, the in the story of you, just naturally happens as you come home to the truth of who you are, and things are seen through as either very useful or not useful, because you just won't resonate with things that are no longer useful for your ascension. And so you just naturally refine. I like to use the word refinement. So after you go through the purification phase and the sacred in between, and you burn away through the illusion of the separate self, and you finally see through the eyes of source and through the eyes of the one sacred heart that sees unity, not separation, that purification process will lend itself eventually to just a period of refinement and expansion, and refinement and expansion, and yes, even more death and rebirth, because you are not meant to be just this like one thing. And like in the old matrix way, it's like, oh, you are this, you put all these labels, and then you're that thing for like 40 or 50 years, and you do this one thing, and then you save for this like end of your life experience where hopefully you're healthy enough to enjoy it, and this whole time you've been wearing this label and wearing these hats where you've done this one thing. No, you are just a shapeshifter. You are constantly in evolution, constantly in expansion, constantly in death and rebirth. Every single moment of now, which is just one now. It's not like a chopped up bunch of moments. All you have is this. I always tell people as a little, try to escape this, try to escape the now, spend the whole day trying to escape it. You can. This is all you have. And God, I just lost it. The hell was I saying? It'll come back. It's 11:55 on the clock. I really felt like I was on a roll there. Shit, I just lost it. It'll come back. Hmm. Oh well. What the hell was I saying? Yeah. For all of you that are open to channeling, because there are some clients of mine that are open to channeling, just know that when you are channeling, it's not happening like you will still pull from personal story and stuff. That's why you went through what you went through. So that you could be a living testimony and that you could have like understand everything from the inside out, especially as a way shower. Like you've walked the path and you're able to use your story and your testimony in ways that really relate to people, and you harness a deep level of humility and compassion and empathy for the journey. But when you're channeling, you're in a state of you're not filtering everything through the conscious mind. And so sometimes that happens. You kind of just lose it. You can't remember it. Like I literally am like a blank slate right now. I have no idea what the hell I was talking about. I felt like it was good though. I hope it was resonating. Let me know in the comments if this was resonating. I'm gonna sit here for a minute and see what pops up. Um, you can join me if you like. Oh, thank you. I received. I received. I think I was talking about purification. Like maybe I'm repeating myself. I don't know, but you go through the purification. And yeah, it's you this eventually just turns into natural refinement and a deepening into union with the one, the true one, the one, the infinite self that lives within you. And it's not like this end result that you get to, like I always share, state, put your flag in and be like, oh, I achieved it, I'm here. It's just like it's an ending, evolving, expansion, deepening, refinement, but you're no longer suffering through any of it because you're not identified with a separate sense of self. And thing as you no longer identify with separate self and you are coming home to the truth of who you are, which is of high frequency, you naturally signal that, which then reflects back higher, reflects that back in the reality. So you don't have to go through the deep purification anymore because it's no longer necessary. It's no longer useful to get you to come home to yourself. Um, and then it's just right before, like even like this email that I received, for example, that like puts a bow and packages up like pretty much everything to a T that I just wrote down in a journal as I was just kind of like channeling through things without the egoic filter of like what really wants to come through. If there were no, if because there are no limits, there's no, it's there's what really wants to come through. Like everything is a fresh slate. That's also what I was sharing when I lost my thoughts or lost the download. Everything is a fresh slate. Everything is a death and rebirth. That this now moment that just is constantly dying and birthing anew right now. Every single moment is a moment where you, and I say you loosely, I'm not talking about the separate self trying to figure everything out and run from your problems and trying to grasp onto something. I'm talking about the truth of who you are, which is here and now. In every now moment, there's no, every moment is a rebirth. Every moment is a rebirth. Every moment is the moment of now is you, and you are here now, and it is not something that is graspable. You can't grasp onto life. You can't grasp on to the experience. You can only be here now experiencing it. And if you live in the conceptual mind of labels, you will miss the entire point because you will be narrating your life and living from labels instead of actually experiencing it. It's kind of like if I were to describe to you how a strawberry tastes, and I could describe it in the greatest detail. It's sometimes sweet, sometimes it's sour. It has these little seeds and things like that. Those are all words and labels. Unless you actually eat the strawberry, you have no idea what it is. It's the through experience that you experience life. It's not through living in the mind and narrating life. and living in the conceptual world. This is why it's so imperative, if you're still identified with the mind, to drop out of language and drop out of using labels and words for a while and go walk in nature in solitude, and maybe not listen to the music and don't turn on the radio, and just be in the silence. Listen to the silence and listen to the sounds that arise within the silence. That will bring you home closer than any of these guided tools and techniques that you pick up along the spiritual journey as one of your little spiritual tools or spiritual hacks. Silence and stillness will bring you home. That's the doorway home, and your breath. If you can be here now, fully present, breathing with your breath, and actually take the time to slow down and listen to the spaciousness and the stillness and the silence, and tap into the essence of that, the external silence will it will bring you into the internal silence. And so oftentimes on this journey, you're filling all this silence with noise. You can tell, like, when someone's uncomfortable with silence, they're constantly trying to talk and fill the silence. Or if they're if they're like by themselves, they're constantly trying to fill the space with more friends or more on their to-do list, or more events, or checking off more boxes and stuff like that. That's all a very sneaky way that the ego will keep you in a state of doing instead of a state of being. And everything, I promise you, everything, you don't take my word for it. This has to be your direct experience. But if you're listening to this and it's resonating, there might be a reason for that. And that is because everything will come from the being. Like, through no effort of your own, things will start to unfold because infinite intelligence is already on it. You don't have to do it. You will be guided to take any sacred actions. I was guided to open my email. Normally, I delete it. It looked like a spam email. It wasn't even something I subscribed to. Like, this random, I was put on a random list because I used to be a realtor. And because I used to be a realtor in my old life here, which I haven't sold real estate since 2020, but somehow through being a realtor, I ended up on this list that I never subscribed to, and received this email that pretty much packaged up one of my dreams with a little cherry on top and delivered it to me on a silver platter. Now, I don't know what's going to come from that, and that's the fun. It's like, oh, I'm getting full body chills right now. This is the new earth creation. This is how you create from heart centeredness. You step into the unknown. You allow yourself to be. You allow any sacred actions to come forth, and the doing comes from the being, but you don't have to figure any of that out. It will come naturally when you are being the identity of your divine power and who the fuck you truly are, instead of the old I wounded identity. You will have natural actions that arise from this beingness, okay? And anyways, there will be things that just, infinite intelligence is already running the show, and it always has been, and that is what's beating your heart and looking through your eyes right now. So um this is the other thing I was talking about that I think I lost. I know this is all over the place. So this is kind of like how I channel, though. It always comes through as like a rampage. And if I try to figure out what I'm supposed to be sharing or saying, I end up not being able to channel. This is not an efforting. This is just showing up and allowing whatever wants to come through to come through. And that's all that's being asked of you as well. The one thing that is coming up that I wanted to circle back to that's coming through is this collapsing of the gap, of the apparent gap. When you come home to yourself, you're no longer, and the truth of who you are at your core, which is this timeless eternal beingness that is not the separate self, and you're no longer putting on that small heel, those heels that pinch and that you know are going to give you blisters if you try to put them on. You're no longer saying yes to the old identity, and you're living in your truth. You become one with what you always have been, and there is no gap. Separation is the illusion. So manifestation, the need to manifest, falls away, because that was a separate sense of self trying to get something. It was coming from actual fear-based consciousness, which is what keeps a lot of people looping in, creating old patterns, um, and having, in having old patterns be reflected in the 3D back to them because they're still giving their power away. And this is why your manifestation techniques don't work anymore, because you've reached a higher level of consciousness, a different dimension of being able to play with energy and alchemize. You're here to be an ascended alchemist, an ascended master. You're here to play fully embodied in your divinity. And um, the need to manifest falls away. It just becomes this knowing and being. And then you become, things just naturally flow into your experience because you are not in the way anymore. It's it when I say you, the separate self is no longer muddying up the frequency with fear-based vibration, fear-based consciousness. And so you're emitting more of a pure frequency. And this makes you magnetic. This is just true divine magnetism. It makes you magnetic and things just flow into your experience effortless and easily that don't, and you don't know how. Like you just declare what it is you're available for. And when you declare what it is you're available for from your power, it's not because you need to fix anything. It's not putting a band-aid over anything. It's not because um, you're trying to run from something. It's what are your pure desires? If you could have whatever you wanted, that really lights up your heart and soul, not an ego desire, but just really lights up your heart and soul. So I'm not talking about small little ego desires that put band-aids over what you appear that appears to be a problem at the moment for you. I'm talking about what really lights up your heart. And if you were to really get discerning around that and declare that, what first comes up, which I'm circling back a little bit again, is a lot of the old pattern that is unwinding. So you'll see old relationship dynamics or old um, jobs or old things coming in, opportunities and stuff like that, but they don't resonate anymore. So again, those are the carrots. And when you don't bite the carrots and you stay in your power and you know that you are one with the infinite intelligence that is running the show and it is finished, it is done. You just have to declare it and choose it for yourself. Then you shut the door on the old identity, and that's when you create the spaciousness that allows God to fill it with what you were truly here to experience and what you were truly here to play with and have fun and express. And that can't happen if you are full, right? So God wants to empty you. The God within you is emptying you of all of the falsehood and all of the untruth and everything that's not in alignment with what you've already asked for on a soul level and also already asked for on a conscious level, because you know consciously you've been aware your whole life, if you're listening to this, the veil hasn't been as thick for you as it has for others because you're an ancient soul. You've been able to see through it pretty easily for most of your life, which is why you have such a strong connection to the divine already. And it's not truly a connection because you're not separate, but that's just the language that is being used right now. But you can't connect something that's already you're already one with. It's not two things coming together. You are not coming together with the divine. You are the divine. And this is about being the one, being one with the divine, as the divine, living and expressing as the divine, creating as the divine wants to create through you. And so it's a complete surrendering of the egoic desires, the personal will, the old motivation and drive that used to like push and force and try to figure everything out. And it's a surrendering to the divine will and to the divine plan and emptying out all of your attachments and egoic fears and all the things you've latched onto to try to prove your worthiness along the way. And coming home to realize that you are all of this. You are the source of all of this. You are writing the script, you are writing the play, you are the actor in it as well. You are all of this. And so at a certain point, you just get to write whatever script you want. You get to play at the highest level. So if you're going to play this game and you're going to have this human story unfold, the story of Sarah, the story of Bill, the story of Susan, the story of Jill, right? The story is unfolding within your awareness. You might as well write a fucking good one, right? Like you might as well. Why not? You're here. You came to play and have fun. You came to have this human experience, or you wouldn't be here. This isn't an accident that you're here. So at a certain point, It's just about playing and having fun and creating what's truly on your heart and enjoying the ride from the highest vantage point. There's something else I was going to share, but I lost it. Um, oh, yeah. So as you are emptied out, then God can fill you with, you've created the spaciousness, right? Like when you're full of all of your beliefs and conditioning and patterns and knee-jerk reactions and coping mechanisms and all of the things that the little self has been using this whole time to make its way through the big bad world and defend itself and fight against things and chase things and seek things and all the things, when that finally gets emptied out, you've created the spaciousness not only on a physical level within the body and energetically within the, the chakras, right? You are a vessel. You are like this sacred technology, this divine technology that's both physical and metaphysical. You are a multidimensional being. And as all of this is emptied out, right? Your emotional body, your mental, you're no longer hooked in the mind, and the purification on the deepest level, on the cellular biological level even, and you've created the spaciousness within the sacred vessel that you are. Now everything can flow freely, and everything, there's fluidity, there's flow, there's frequency, your natural frequency, just, you are your natural frequency. So you naturally vibrate much higher because you're just no longer being bogged down with all the stuff that you were filled with that was coming from a lower, denser frequency. Oh my God, it's November 12th at 12:12. And 12:12 is all, I love numerology and all of this. So this is about trusting now. This is about fully trusting the new beginning that you are embarking on. It is official. You no longer fit in your old reality. You can't put on those old pair of heels anymore. They're gonna pinch and give you blisters. You can't walk in those old heels anymore. So it's about trusting now the new beginning that's here. And in the moment you decide, this isn't something that takes freaking years. Like if you're at this level of frequency and manifestation already, you already know that you're increasingly magnetic. Like things are happening and collapsing into your timeline fast. You can think of something and within hours or minutes, it pops into your reality. So the last thing I'll share is you don't have the luxury anymore of having lazy discernment, right? Get clear on what lights you up, what makes your heart sing. And if you don't know what that is, then follow your joy and bliss for a few days and just allow yourself to be, because it will come through your beingness. It's not going to come through you trying to figure it out. And you will be moved. And when you feel moved, you move. And when you don't feel moved, you be. And you rest and you play and you allow yourself the you allow yourself to rest in the awareness that you don't have to be efforting and doing all the time in order to be good enough or worthy, and you're not trying to fit into the old matrix anymore that's just hustle and work and bury your head and sell your soul and do all the things that don't light you up anymore in order to like check off a few boxes that you think that you need. And I'm not projecting that that's your experience, but I know someone needed to hear that. So uh if you don't know what lights you up, which I'm assuming if you're listening to this, you already have an idea of how gifted and talented and powerful you are. But in the event that you are still trying to find that within, it's not something you're going to find. It's not something that you're going to be able to figure out. It's something that you open to receive. And the more you come home to yourself, the less you're in your mind about it, the less you're trying to conceptually figure it out, the more it will naturally unfold. So this is, at the end of the day, you are on an ascension timeline. And so the more you treat this like your ascension and not a personal development journey and not a never-ending self-healing journey, and you realize this is your ascension journey and that you're already whole and complete, and even if you don't believe that you're already whole and complete yet, or that's not what you feel at the moment, come home to your heart and rest in the silence and stillness and give yourself the time to breathe, and whatever comes up from there, even if it's tears, even if it's memories, even if it's pain or hurt or a story or something like that, like there will be things that surface that are part of the purification process. And you don't have to figure any of that out. You just have to be present with what you've been suppressing your whole life. So you just can't put coping mechanisms over it anymore. You can't avoid it. You can't run from it. You can't numb out. You can't fill your days with all of the to-dos. You can't fill your times alone with all of the extra people and family members. You can't fill all of the silence with all the extra noise and things to listen to that distract you from being here and now. At the end of the day, there is one doorway, one gate that brings you home to the place you've always been and never left, which is the divine love and abundance and prosperity and well being that you're seeking. And it is here and now. Here and now, which your breath anchors you in, here and now is the doorway. It is the doorway. And it's also the doorway to your divine creation process. And you fully anchored into the infinite intelligence that you are, and allowing that to breathe you and play you and move through you and speak through you and dance through you and cook through you and drive through. Like you're always it, but you're not going to be here now as it if you're always up in the mind. So at the end of the day, I don't care. And I say this with love because I have my own, in the story of Sarah, there was plenty of drama and trauma. There was abuse. There was all of these things that happened along the way. And so there's plenty of opportunity to get lost in story and um, have coping mechanisms to run and hide and numb out to what wanted to come through and just be felt and expressed. So it could be released from the system and from the mind body complex that it's trapped in. There's plenty of opportunity to do that, and you can continue to do that. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to bring you home is being here and now with what is. This is the ascension process, is being here and now. Eckhart Tolle would say, be with the present moment as if you have chosen it. Be with what is as if you have chosen it. Can you imagine what that would be if you were here now as if you have chosen it? And I'm not saying that you choose terrible things and that you're supposed to stay complacent and stay stuck in a situation where you're not being honored or you're being abused or anything like that. No, you are a sovereign being and you deserve to feel safe, and you remove yourself from those circumstances. But at the end of the day, when you're here and now and you no longer resist the present moment and you choose and you're here as if you have chosen it, can you feel that there's no longer a fighting and a restriction? There's no longer a friction with what's here and now, and now that allows spaciousness for whatever is not meant to be here, carrying, you're not meant to carry anymore, the burdens and all the things. Now there's actually room for it to rise and be released. So that is part of the purification process, to empty out, so to speak, so you can be filled with what you truly are, which is already your highest and pure frequency. But you're not being filled with it necessarily, but you're opening. There's a heart opening and an expansion that the direct experience feels like peace and love and uncaused joy and silent ecstasy for no reason. Every single moment of the day is very ordinary and fun and special and not special simultaneously, because it's not on a pedestal, because every other moment is also special. So you just get to live in a sea of beauty despite what's happening, because life is still going to unfold how life is still going to life. But even in the moments when you've had some of the deepest sorrow and things like that, there's still beauty in that. And I'm not projecting that you accept things that are, again, I'm putting a disclaimer out there because the ego will come in and be like, oh, well, I'm just going to be present, even though I'm in this situation where I'm completely being dishonored and attacked or something like that. And no, divine love, your divine expression will not self abandon. You are a holy being, child of God. You deserve to be in a safe environment. And I don't know why I'm sharing this right now, but I'm just feeling like someone needs to hear this. So you deserve to be in a safe environment. And it's usually fear or attachment or codependency that will keep us in situations or circumstances that no longer serve us and are not aligned. And it's breaking free from those patterns or addictions or codependencies and things like that that will set you free. And I can say this because I've walked it. So I'm saying this with love and compassion. I've walked it. I've been in situations that were completely dishonoring. And there was a level of verbal, physical, emotional abuse and all the things. And it was choosing freedom, my own sovereignty that broke me free from those patterns. And the mind will come in with so many different reasons to stay or to give something another shot or another chance or this or that. And this is all I'm sharing. I'm only sharing this because at a certain point earlier on in this journey, you will be, and then throughout the journey, choosing yourself is part of this process. You are divinely holy and worthy as you are. You deserve the absolute best in life and nothing less than the best in life. And when you know that to be true for yourself, the world begins to reflect it. But that means you have to choose that you are divinely worthy, innately worthy. And as you choose that you are divinely worthy and innately worthy as a child of God, an expression of the one, and you choose yourself through every sacred yes and every sacred no, and you walk away, the image that's coming up is the Eight of Cups card in the Tarot. I don't use the Tarot, but Spirit uses images all the time. This is how this is how I play with reality. So the card that comes up is the Eight of Cups, which is walking away from all of those spilled cups. And those cups represent emotional disturbance or unfulfillment, right? You're walking away from the things that are not serving you and have caused a lot of emotional turmoil, possibly, and things like that. And on this particular image, she is walking towards the sun, and the sun is the highest vibrational card of joy and happiness. She's choosing herself. She's breaking free. She's walking towards the sun. She's turning her back on all of the things that no longer serve her, and she's choosing herself. This is a very pivotal phase of, especially if you resonate with the divine feminine journey, but any journey, because it's all part of this process is choosing your divine sovereignty and no longer self abandoning. You don't need to seek your worthiness, your validation, love outside of you. You are it. And as you walk away from everything that's not serving at a high level, um, you begin to step fully into the purification process that comes after that from making that conscious decision, from choosing yourself. And I can share with you as you come out of this purification process and what feels very heavy at times, and maybe you go through dark night of the soul and a lot of tower moments, and I know if you're resonating with this you have, because you wouldn't be here right now. If I wouldn't be a sacred mirror for you if you weren't experiencing a lot of this or some of this, either now or you can relate. um, as you move out of the sacred void and you're moving into this divine magnetism where things start to unfold and the universe just starts rolling out the red carpet because you are the one and you are walking and being the one and you are living from your divine expression, you will still be faced with decisions. Like there was a closing of the door of what it's just another level of refinement. And in the moment, like within, like in the moment that I shut a door, a new opportunity comes in. And this happens over and over and over again because we're constantly in this state of refinement, not fixing, not working on yourself like you're a project. You're not a project to be fixed. Healing can occur, alchemy can occur. but that is not who you are. You are whole, healed, and complete. You may have picked up programming and patterns and conditioning along the way, but you are not that. You are not the borrowed belief systems from your childhood. You are not what happened. You are not that. And that will naturally be unwound from the physical vessel and your emotional body and your chakra system as a multidimensional being as you continue to ascend. So, long, and you can't, when I say ascend, this is your ascension timeline. And what I really mean by that is it's just a continuous deepening and refinement into fully embodying who and what you are and playing the game of life at the highest level, which is playing the game of life divinely expressed, creatively expressed, being you, not a fake mask that version of you, not someone that you think you need to be in order to gain approval. You just get to be you and have fun and play and create and be here present with the experience of life, not the narration of it in your mind, not the conceptual version of it in your head. You're no longer being jerked around by the little voice that tells you you're not good enough or that you have to do more in order to be worthy. So I think that's it for now. I always was like, maybe I'll pop in here for a short message. And then they always turn out to be, I feel like 30 or 40 minutes. I'm not sure how long this one will be. But there's a special announcement as I was dancing and playing to what's the name of the song? It's one of my favorites. We Belong by Pat Benatar. I'm totally a Gen Xer on this in the story of Sarah. Anywho, I've been through request and feels now aligned to everyone. Obviously, like there is no gender with feminine energy or masculine energy. We embody both of these as the dualistic expression that we came here to play with. But Divine Femme, I've always, in all of my premium programs, I've always, for very specific reasons of the sacred feminine that is rising and has been suppressed for millennia, I've always, all of my programs have always catered to beings that have incarnated here in the feminine form. But I am being called to open up one-on-one spots, private one-on-one spots that are gender neutral for anyone that feels in resonance with the transmissions that I bring through and wants to jump on a call and talk through. I channel through. Everything is very intuitively guided. I channel through. You get massive clarity, activation, and illumination on your path. And yeah, so if you're feeling called to one-on-one, I'm opening those up for a period of time. I don't know how long, but I'm going to be popping the link up there soon. If you're listening to this on YouTube or on the podcast, you're welcome to that. And they are for both their gender neutral calls. So I know I've had a lot of people reach out that are men that wanted to figure out how to work together and things like that. So I'm still reserving my premium programs for women, but I do feel called to offer the one-on-one privates that are gender neutral if you feel called. So check that out wherever you're listening to this. And until next time, I hope this finds you well. Namaste.